Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are studying the fifth sermon of God, Al-Maidah. Its topic is Final Testament, which is agreement with humanity with God. Like God, between God and humanity, what to do and what is wrong. So this is the main thing. The word Maidah, Al-Maidah, means just the table of eating, but it is that table where God gave food to Prophet Jesus ﷺ and his companions about it. So that's why this name became common about people, but the actually main topic is agreement with humanity, and the detail is God's law. So we will start today's lecture. We will see in the from 1 to 5 is agreement between Allah and humanity, especially about food, pilgrimage, and family. What to do, what is wrong, and then 6 to 7 will study the part of this agreement is ablution, justice, and nationalism. About this, what has said. Then, inshallah, in the next lecture, we shall study further about from 30 to 40 sentences, penal law of God has explained, and then 87 to 108 is the answer of questions about the God's law, and in between, God has discussed the final judgment of crime and punishment about the people of the book of God, plus solution of their misunderstanding, that how to improve their misunderstanding, how they can improve about it. So this is the overall topic of this Al-Maidah. From the people of the book means Jews, Muslims, and Christians. About it in detail, it is discussed with them. So we'll start with such agreement. This is the covenant between God and us. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ufu bil uqud uhillat lakum bahimatul an'ami illa ma yutla alaykum ghayra محل الصيد وأنتم حرم إن الله يحكم ما يريد. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the every merciful. Believers, fulfill all your agreement made with your Lord. And then its detail in this agreement includes it is lawful for you to eat the flesh of all beasts which are cattle, except those which you are being informed to you. But in the state of ihram, ihram is the situation of conducting pilgrimage. Do not hunt animals. This is the decree of God, and Allah decrees what He intends. So God has discussed first with the eat, that you can eat anything except which God has informed, and you have already studied in Al-Baqarah. God has explained that what is not allowed for us to eat, especially those animals which are who hunt other animals. So we cannot eat the beast. We cannot eat their flesh. We cannot eat them. but except that all other animals, especially the beasts, we can eat there if they don't do any hunting. If they do, no, in case of hunting, don't do. If animal hunt, for example, dog, so we cannot eat it. We cannot eat the flesh of dogs, but we can eat the flesh of such animals which do not eat, especially the agricultural products they can eat. Okay, that's okay, you can eat the flesh of these animals. And then God has explained the exception that if when you do for pilgrimage, then you cannot hunt any animal. So this is not allowed. Hunting is not allowed during we conduct pilgrimage, because pilgrimage is then just to do hunting the shaitan. This is the main objective of pilgrimage. Then God explained about pilgrimage, what is allowed and what is not allowed. God has explained. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحلوا شعائر الله ولا الشهر الحرام ولا الهدي ولا القلائد ولا آمين البيت الحرام يبتغون فضلا من ربهم ورضوانا وإذا حللتم فاصطادوا ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم أن تصدوكم عن المسجد الحرام أن تعتدوا وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان واتقوا الله إن الله شديد العقاب. Believers, don't violate the rituals of Allah, the sacred months. Number two is the animals of sacrifice during pilgrimage, or specifically those among them whose necks are decked with colors of woe. Three is that those people who have set out for the sacred house to seek God's grace at pleasure and pleasure of God. Fourth is, however, once you take off your ihram is the situation of conducting pilgrimage, you are free to hunt. Fifth is, some people had stopped you from coming to the sacred house. Therefore, even you hostility against them should not incite you so much that you cross the limits. And sixth is, collaborate with one another in virtuous and pious, but not in what is unjust and oppressive, and remain fearful of God, because Allah is Saturn in retribution. So now let me explain about it. First of all, let me know that this pilgrimage in existing history, this started by Prophet Abraham alayhi salatu salam, and his life was around 2000 BC. So pilgrimage he started, and he established the house of God, which is the sacred house, exist in Makkah city of Saudi Arabia. So he established it. So since that time, continuously 2000 BC to today, this pilgrimage is conducted. So at that time, since in the Arab countries people had especially different tribes who were killing each other, so Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam explained them that especially 4 months you must not conduct any war, and 4 months was special for pilgrimage. So people of Arab countries, they agreed with Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they did not conducted any war between 4 months. And during these 4 months, every tribal area business also conducted at that time because there was no war during these 4 months. Second point is the animals people become sacrifice during pilgrimage, and this is conducted in Makkah, and still it exists. So God said that at that time people were taking their animals with you during travel, because at that time people had any huge investment was done in animals. So just as an to sacrifice these animals in Makkah to conduct as an evidence that we are able to sacrifice our personality for the God. Then third point was that sacred house set out, you go to it, and God's grace and pleasure, because this is the main objective of pilgrimage, that we go to the sacred house in Makkah, and our objective is that we contact our relationship with God, and also a lot of pleasure we can get from God. Fourth point is that ihram. Ihram is the condition when we take special garments of pilgrimage. So at that time, God has informed that free to hunt. Hunting is not allowed. You will say that right now it's not important issue. No, it's not sure. But actually, what happened in previous time, especially at the time of Prophet Ibrahim to Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, that at that time this ihram, this was their food. You can see that these are the locations from where we start ihram. So people coming from anything, because at that time culture there was no hotel available at every 1 kilometer, nothing. So people for their food, in agricultural food they were taking, but it cannot available for long time, so they had only option except hunting animals they were taking. So God informed that during conducting this pilgrimage you must not able to conduct hunting, and this boundary of this is called miqat, which is around 100 kilometer from Makkah. You will say 100 kilometer is nothing right now. Yes, okay, but previously it was a big journey, especially like around at that time people their their travel was through enemies, sorry, they were only able to through animals, they were just conducting their travel. It was taking for 1 day, their journey was only 50 kilometer in 1 day. So you can say that especially in Miqat, which is around 100 kilometer to Makkah, it was taking around 2 days. So during 2 days, God has explained that you are not allowed to conduct pilgrimage, you cannot conduct any hunting. So then people had only option that whatever food previously exists, you should keep it and secure it for these 2 months. And when you enter into Makkah, you cannot hunting, but you can purchase food from any person. In this boundary of this miqat is long. If you go from Medina, so this is around 400 kilometers, and this happened especially for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, because its distance is 400 kilometers, which was conducted around 8 days. So that was a special for them. Then fifth point, God has explained that you should stop. If you are stopped by the enemies during pilgrimage, you are not allowed to conduct any hostility. Don't do it. If they don't allow you to conduct pilgrimage, okay, leave pilgrimage and all the benefit God will give to you. This happened especially at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because people of Makkah did not believed in one God, because they had polytheism. So they did not allow the Prophet and companions to conduct pilgrimage. This happened only for 8 years. But after that, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam get victory and without any war, he came to Makkah, so all people of Makkah were surrenders and they get believing in one God. So then the issue was resolved at that time. But during this time, God has explained that hostility is not allowed, especially during this pilgrimage. Even if these people are stopping you to go to conduct pilgrimage. And then God has explained that collaborate with one another in what is virtuous and pious. You must be this. This exercise of pilgrimage is just a practical exercise that we conduct our relation with God, and which will have to continuously work according to our remaining life. So this is the main objective. So just I can introduce just the overall view of this pilgrimage, that when you go from your home in your whatever country you live, you'll have to go, and when you enter in this miqat, at that time you'll have to change your garments, and special garments are for pilgrimage. You will take it at that time. All different responsibilities happen as a result of that. Just example here, hunting is not allowed and some other things are not allowed after you have changed the garments. Practically right now, when you conduct this pilgrimage, and our travel is through flights, so definitely when you are in a planet, whatever planet do you live, when you go to Makkah, so it's practically very difficult change garments when you are in your place. So people, that's why they change garments at the airport, and in this airflow, whenever you conduct, so when this you come to this miqat destination, so the pilot introduce that we have come there. At that time you'll have to conduct this labbaik Allahumma labbaik, that God, I am available now for you, which means. So then we'll have to all the responsibility starts. These are the locations. This is this sacred house which is conducted. Its construction was done by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And on right side, this is Safa and Marwa. These are the special location where Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam conducted the sacrifice, his son as God. But practically God did not happen, it did, but he accepted the attitude of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So we just, this is a walk, we do it, and this is responsibility. Then from this Al-Haram is that sacred house. From there we go to a location, Mina. Mina is the just land where we'll have to live for around 3-4 days. We'll have to just live there and establish a relation with God. Then on 9th Zulhajj, we'll have to go out, and this is another location which is, its name is Arafat. Just for one day, we conduct our relation with God. That's it. Then in the night, we go back to another location called Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah, in the night we will live, and then the 10th Zulhajj. Zulhajj is the 12th month of Hijri calendar. We go back to Mina, and in Mina there is just a sample of Shaitan. So we'll have a war with this Shaitan, which will become an sort of a memorandum for us for the whole life. We will become enemy against Shaitan. So this is the method, and around further 2 days further or 3 days further we can live in Mina, and we conducted the exercise of war with this Shaitan, and also we sacrifice enemies there. And then this is called Hajj, the big pilgrimage. This is finished, and a short version of this pilgrimage is, at any day we can go to this Al-Haram, and there we conduct. It will take only 2-3 minutes we'll have to do. Right now you can see this is the picture of Mina. These tents are, the government has already conducted this, but practically before this time people were taking their tent and they were living there for these around 4-5 days. They were living there. Sacrifice point is also here near this, and this sample of Shaitan is this available. Its picture is there. And how we conduct the war, this will be just some minor stones we will to kill Shaitan. This is just a sample. Sample will be that we will be enemy for the whole life against the Shaitan. Below is the Arafat, where we conduct a relation with God, and Muzdalifah is the night we will live there. And you can see these white garments are for Ihram, in which we conduct from Miqat we will take it. This is special for men, and for women their normal garments are okay for them. So this is just an overview of it. Now we discuss further about food, what God has established that we should be take care of that. حرمت عليكم الميتة والدم واللحم الخنزير وما أهل لغير الله به والمنخنفة والموقوذة والمتردية والنطيحة وما أكل السبع إلا ما زكيتم وما ذبح على النصب وأن تستقسموا بالأزلام ذلكم فسق اليوم بئس الذين كفروا من دينكم فلا تخشوهم واخشون اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا فمن اضطر في مخمصة غير متجانف لإثم فإن الله غفور رحيم. So this is the law of food. This is our agreement with God we'll have to conduct. Prohibited to you, what is not allowed for us to eat, the meat of dead animal. Second is not allowed blood of definitely of animals, and as well as human blood also we cannot drink it. Third point is the flesh of swine. This is not allowed, and even though you can, even in Torah, the 5th book of the Bible, you can study the same God has explained, because swine, it's an animal which is also conducting hunting. That's why it is not allowed for us, but it was a confusion for people, and especially like in Christians also follow Torah, but they have assumed that this swine is okay for us. So they assume, but God has explained that no, don't take flesh of swine. Then fourth point, God has explained that on which Allah's name has not been invoked whilst slaughtering. Because in slaughtering, it must be there that we say Allahu Akbar, that Allah is God. Allah is the big God, Allah only, nothing else. This we invoke and then we conduct slaughtering. So if we have not given the name of God, then don't eat flesh of that animal. Fifth point is also is an animal which has been killed by strangling or by a blow or by a headlong fall or by the goring of horns. This is not allowed. Then sixth is that also which has been eaten by a wild animal unless you are able to slaughter it after finding it alive. And seventh is similarly also forbidden to you are those animals slaughtered at any altar of polytheism. Don't do it. And number 8 is the division of meat by arrows of gambling. So don't take it. You should know that all these are acts of disobedience to God. These disbelievers have been lost hope in your religion. Therefore, with regard to these prohibitions, have now lost hope in your religion. Therefore, with regard of these prohibitions, have no fear of them, but fear me only. The day I have completed your religion for you, and have completed my favor to you, and have chosen Islam, which means surrender to Allah as your religion. You should not eat unlawful prohibitions, but if he or she is constrained by hunger, in compelled to eat any of these things, he or she should not intending to commit sin, then there is no harm in this, because Allah is forgiving and ever merciful. So here you can see that God has explained that this, through the agreement with God, this is the covenant. If we conduct, so then what will happen, that God explained, that God has explained everything in the Quran. So that's okay. You are only conduct the Islam, which is the acceptable religion of God, is Islam, and Islam means surrender to God. That's it. We'll have to do, and we'll have to follow according to the law of God. That's it. And you have already studied in Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, and An-Nisa that what law God has explained us, that what is right and what is wrong, we'll have to follow according to it. That's it. So you can see that about animals, especially, God has explained that you can eat flesh of them, but and especially blood is not allowed for us, and slaughtering is actually, the objective of slaughtering is that blood of animal go out. So we should eat now flesh, because blood is gone out, and now it become able that we are eat. But God has explained that during slaughtering, first you should conduct the name of God, and eaten of wild animal through hunting, you can do it, but you must do it that before killing of this animal, if you get it and you slaughter it in the name of God, then it's okay, you can eat is one, because people had conducted this hunting through dogs. They were conducting, so that's okay for you, because dogs, their exercise usually is conducted if the training is done. So then dogs only just hunt it and do not eat it. So at the same time, the owner can directly go there and they did slaughter in name of God. And then the seventh point God has there, that forbidden to you animals slaughtered at any altar. Altars are for the polytheism, where any condition where polytheism is there, so people conduct this slaughter in different such points or locations, they do it. So God has explained that never eat it, even in the name of God is given slaughter, but don't take it. And in Arab culture, it was there that they were conducting this gambling with enemies. This through animals, they were conducting gambling. So God explained that don't eat it. So all these things. But exception, as God has explained, that if you are in a huge problem and you don't have any other food and your sugar value is decline, so you, in that case, this unlawful food, you can eat it, but you should not intending to get this one, no, but for problems you can take it. So this is the food law. God has explained this one. So now you can think about it, that how God wants us to take care of your food, because the food will go in your body, and with your body different parts of the body are conducted, and practically you can now see different articles that people who drink blood, what become result of their philosophy and their and the attitude of that person who drink blood. You may find a lot of, during Second World War, people, especially there in the military, people drank blood. So what was their attitude? You can study in any book. Whoever scholar has wrote the history of the Second World War, you will find it, and you can see the attitude of people. And similarly, you can see articles about a people who conduct this slaughter in alive, slaughter in altar. Altars are the location where this polytheism is conducted. So you can see that as a result of that, the people who eat, so what happens, that they also go for polytheism ideas. They get it. That's why God has explained that don't do it. Then God further explained, يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا أُحِلَّ لَهُمْ قُلْ أُحِلَّ لَكُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتُ وَمَا عَلَّمْتُمْ مِنَ الْجَوَارِحِ مُكَلِّبِينَ تُعَلِّمُونَهُنَّ مِمَّا عَلَّمَكُمُ اللَّهُ فَكُلُوا مِمَّا أَمْسَكْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ وَاذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. A prophet, they ask you what is lawful for them. Inform them all pure things are lawful to you, as well as the slaughter lawful animals by hunting animals you have taught to hunt, training them from the knowledge which Allah has taught you. The animals hunted by them is also allowed. Therefore, eat of what they catch for you, and before you let loose the animal to catch the prey, pronounce upon it the name of God and remain fearful of God. Indeed, swift is God in taking account. So here God has allowed us that hunting through animals, we can do it, especially people get it through a god, through a dog, people conducted it. So this is allowed for us, but its method is explained, that give training to that your dog, do it, and then because after hunted, they allow the that animal to you, that you can slaughter and then you can eat it. Previously, here, when you can see this word, God says that this day I have completed your religion for you. At that time, this happened when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam introduced this sentence. So some Jews were there. They said that if God has given us such sentence that I have complete your religion, this we will be we would be able to conduct a sort of just an enjoyment of time. They said this. And some of Jews, they believed with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so they follow according to the Quran. I can give an example of Dr. Asad, who was a Jew family. He was in this, but when he studied the Quran, he matched with Torah. It's the same, so they believed in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quran, and he wrote in detail the translation of the Quran in English. So this is just an example of a person. So this is, you can think. Then God further explained about the law of family. اليوم أحل لكم الطيبات وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم وطعامكم حل لهم والمحصنات من المؤمنات والمحصنات من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم إذا آتيتموهن أجورهن محسنين غير مسافحين ولا متخذي أخدان ومن يكفر بالإيمان فقد حبط عمله وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين. All pure things have now been made lawful to you. Consequently, the food of the people of the book is lawful to you and yours to them as well. O men, similarly lawful to you are the chaste woman of the Muslims, and also the chaste woman of those who are given the book before you, when you give them their doors with the condition that you too desire chastity, not lewdness, and nor becoming secret relations. No. However, always keep your faith pure and do bear in mind that those who reject faith, all their hard work ended in vain, and in the world to come they will be among the losers. So here God has explained that especially the people of the book are Jews and Christians who are part of Israelites. So God has, if you see the history of Judaism, so their scholars added a lot of responsibilities to people to do this and don't not. A lot of policies and procedures they have conducted at different times, and any religious Jewish persons are following according to it. So God explained that what lawful and unlawful is mentioned by Jewish scholars. So there is no responsibility for you. You are okay for you, and your religion is now complete in the Quran. So there is no need for you to study the scholars of Jews and Christian scholars, whatever they have, conditions they have mentioned. No, there is no need for you. And God has explained that especially about the Jews food is allowed because their majority is following according to Torah, and Torah also has the same message of slaughtering animals. Any animals, what you should slaughter in what way. So they are following according to it. And other than flesh of animals, for other things there is no problem of that, especially food, about agricultural food, there is no issue at anything. So then for the family, God has explained that for Muslim men, you must conduct marriage with Muslim woman, and it is allowed for them that you conduct marriage with Jews or Christian woman, but they must be chaste woman, and the Muslim man must be chaste person. They must be there, and you not conduct any sort of chastity. You must take care of it, and not lewdness. Never conduct it, because this is unlawful. God has conducted, and if you will do, then take care of punishment. You'll have to accept it, unless that you give sorry from God. Then God explained ablution and shower of that, because objective of this agreement with God is that we should be pure psychologically, and our body must be pure. So God explained, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين وإن كنتم جنوبا فاطهروا وإن كنتم مرضى أو على سفر أو جاء أحد منكم من الغائط أو لامستم النساء فلم تجدوا ماء فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا فامسحوا بوجوهكم وأيديكم منه ما يريد الله ليجعل عليكم من حرج ولكن يريد ليطهركم وليتم نعمته عليكم لعلكم تشكرون. Believers, this very cleanliness is also needed to come in God's presence. Therefore, when you rise to pray, you must wash your faces and your hands as far as the elbows. Wipe your heads and wash your feet to be your feet to be ankles also. For you have done intercourse with your spouse and become unclean, then bath yourselves to become clean. And then third option is also given, that if at times you are sick or on journey, or when any of you has relieved himself, or if you have had intercourse with spouse but no water is available to you, then find some clean surface and wipe your faces and your hands from it. God does not wish to burden you, but He certainly seeks to purify you. Allah wants to perfect His favor upon you. Thus, in compelling circumstances allows you to do dry ablution so that you are grateful to him. So here you can see the point that especially ablution, God has explained that whenever you go for prayer, so you should first wash your faces, hands and feet, and just you can wipe your heads. So this is a responsibility. So if you study that how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained it, this is the same method. But for face, he has done so in very cleaning, in additional things inside your mouth you must clean as well. So this is the just explanation of wash of faces. And then God has explained that you should hands until your elbows, you should wash that. And for your feet, God has explained that your wash should feet until ankles. You should wash it, and you can see that how Muslims conduct this ablution, the same method they are following. An exception is that if intercourse is done, wife and husband have conducted, then both should bath fully. Whole body must be clean. And God has explained in scenario that if you don't have water or you have some other problem, some issue, some sort of like in a journey, water might not be available, or some sort of any other problem, some you can say that especially in Canada it's difficult for you to conduct just wash everything. So in that cases, this it is allowed that you should conduct. This is called in Arabic, it's called tayammum. Tayammum means that what you'll have to do, that your wipe your faces and hands only. That's it, enough. This is a psychologically way to of cleaning yourself. And God has explained that objective of such sort of options is given to you because God does not wish to burden on you. He wants to make the religion very easy for you. This is the objective. Then God has focused on justice. He explained, فَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَمِيثَاقَهُ الَّذِي وَاثَقَكُمْ بِهِ إِذْ قُلْتُمْ سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ لِلَّهِ شُهَدَاءَ بِالْقِسْطِ وَلَا تَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Benefit from this concession and keep in remembrance this favor of Allah to you and also His covenant with which He bound you when you said, we have listened and we are obedient. Keep it in remembrance and have fear of God because Allah knows even the secrets in your mind. Believers, it is the requisite of this covenant that you stand up for Allah, bearing witness to justice, and your hostility for a people should not induce you to turn away from justice. Take care of this is nearer to piety, and keep fearing God because Allah is well aware of all you do. So whatever you do it. So here God has explained that the justice is the main part of this covenant, the agreement with the God, that we must conduct this justice, and even in case of hostility, even that case we cannot do anything injustice, any activity we cannot do it. We must allow according to ethics and law, according to it. So never conduct unjust activity, never. And God has especially focused on nationalism, unjust nationalism type of that. God has explained that never do it as a group, as a country, you cannot do it. Any unjust activity. God explained further, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ وَالَّذِي كَفَرُوا وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا أُولَئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَحِيمِ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ هَمَّ قَوْمٌ أَن يَبْسُطُوا إِلَيْكُمْ أَيْدِيَهُمْ فَكَفَّ أَيْدِيَهُمْ عَنكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. God has promised those who have embraced faith and done righteous activities that for them is forgiveness and a great reward. On the contrary, those who are disbelievers and have denied our revelations, it is they who shall go to the hell. Believers, remember also this favor which Allah granted you when He restrained the hands of people who want to harm you. Therefore, take care of relation with Allah, and remember that believers should put their trust in God only. So here this is the result, our agreement with God, if we'll follow according to the every points in the Quran. If we follow, then God has given a guarantee of unlimited life forever to enjoyment. And any person who disbelieved and denied the books of God which came to us through prophets, then these persons will go to the hell. Now the question is that a person who is in between this, that he or she has given good ethics according to the law of God, and some mistakes are done. So God explained that for mistakes you should just give sorry to the God, and in future don't do it. And if did injustice activity with other persons, if done, so also resolve their issue as well. So do it, so repentance will be done, so your all sort of sins will be deleted. And for good activities, ethical activities you will do in this life, so God will multiply it, the benefit you have already studied previously in the Quran. So this is your life. So this life of 60, 70, 80 years is just for your exam, but the final result will be unlimited life in the hereafter to enjoy or get punishment. So this is selection is us. For every human person, we can take it. And now, decision is yours. Where would you want to go? So whatever questions, feel free to send to me so that I will explain it. So inshallah, in the next lectures, we will further see the part of this covenant with God, that what we should do and what is not. And God has also explained about the people of the book and hypocrites, what are their mistakes as well. God has explained to us. We will see inshallah in the next lecture. Thanks a lot. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.